I would like to share with you another of my favorite books. This one is called The Snail and the Whale by Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler. It's actually not about a garden, but about another ecosystem that we can see here in California, the ocean. And if you look at the ocean long enough, you might even see a whale. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big gray-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. And as she gazed, she sniffled and sighed, "The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail," said the tiny snail. This is a snail who would like to explore the world. But how is she going to do it? These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wiggle. Sit still, stay put." But the tiny sea snail sniffed and sighed, then cried, "I've got it, I'll hitch a ride." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled and said, "Ride wanted around the world." Who will give this little snail a ride? Oh, who's that? This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright, a humpback whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tail of the humpback whale. He held it out to the starlit sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." This is the sea, so wild and free, that carried the whale and the snail on his tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands, with fiery mountains and golden sands. And there's a monkey and a volcano. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves where colorful fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam past the whale and the snail on his tail. This is the sky so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. Wow, have you ever seen lightning? And she gazed at the sky, the sea, the land, the waves, the caves, and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed at it all. And she said to the whale, "I feel so small." But then came the day the whale lost his way. These are speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. Uh-oh. This is the tide slipping away. Do you think that a whale can swim like that when he's up on the sand? Oh no, that whale looks pretty sad. And this is the whale lying beached in a bay. "Quick, off the sand, back to sea," cried the snail. "I can't move on land, I'm too big," moaned the whale. The snail felt hopeless and terribly small. Then, "I've got it," she cried, and started to crawl. I must not fail, said the tiny snail. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling its class, sit straight, don't talk. This is the board as black as soot. And this is the snail with the itchy foot. Where is that snail? He wrote on the chalkboard. A snail, a snail. The teacher turns pale. Look, said the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale. But what can these little kids do? How are they going to help? These are the children running from school, fetching the firemen, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. Wow, now that whale looks really relieved. All those kids are helping out. And the firefighters too. This is the tide coming into the bay. And these are the villagers shouting hooray as the whale and the snail travel safely away. Even the dog is happy. Back to the dock and a flock on a rock who said, how time's flown and haven't you grown? And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail. They all wanted to go for an adventure. And there they are. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the gray-blue humpback whale. The end.